Hey there, so today I'm actually going to walk you through all of the steps I have taken to make my cushions for the dinette, the cushions which become the bed, okay? And so how I started was I bought myself a 3-inch latex topper, which is perfect because I'm going to put Dacron around this anyway, and then of course covered in fabric. And my bed platform is a little bit shorter than a queen size bed. So the very first thing I'm doing is I've measured to cut off this first piece. So basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting off latex pieces in one piece here, and then there's going to be another big piece, and then the two sides, and then the two middle pieces that will be the backrests, and then come down to complete the bed platform. So I did a bunch of research on how to cut latex, and everybody came up with, including the latex company, an electric knife. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to start cutting up my latex mattress, and I'll take you all the way through how to make cushions and all that kind of thing. So enjoy. Bye for now. Piece number one. So hi there, so I'm going to step you through just doing one wrap that you replicate obviously for every single size of wrap. Now the first thing, as you can see, I've cut up, as I showed you before, I cut up this latex mattress with a carving knife, an electric carving knife, and then after I've basically cut the mattress up, this is the pieces it was cut up into, and then I've measured all the pieces so that I know what I'm cutting my one piece to, okay? Now, you don't have to do this, but I would recommend it. It takes an extra step, a bit of extra expense, but it also makes a much softer, fluffier seat and mattress. And also, I think for the longevity of the latex, I think this is a really good idea. So what you need to get is what's called Dacron. I think they call it polyfiller, that kind of thing. What I've used here, this is just a piece that I've cut. This is about, I think they call it 1-inch loft. I found that a really good loft for this. And then you can just cut it like with about 1.5 inches around the top, the bottom, and all of the sides of your piece, of your seat piece. And then we're going to actually just use a everyday office stapler to staple it into position and then trim. And then I'll show you what that looks like, but it's a super simple process. And this is going to give you both this extra sort of loft and protection, but it also really fills out all of the corners and all of the edges. Okay, so literally once you've got all of these sort of pieces crudely cut, you're going to staple them together with a garden variety stapler. That's all you need. Here it goes. Okay, so this is what we end up with. A Dacron covered piece of latex mattress. And you've already done your measurements beforehand, so you're going to be cutting this one piece to the actual measurements of the latex, not the Dacron, because the idea is you want that loft to fill up the cushion itself. So I'll show you what happens next. Okay, and here comes the part where you have to calculate the one piece cushion, the one piece of fabric. Now, to make this as simple as possible, what I've got here is a little code. So we've got L equals the length, which means the longest length if it's a rectangle. W equals width for the shorter length of the rectangle. T equals the thickness of the cushion. S equals the seam allowance, okay? And so to get the one piece, you're going to have this calculation to get these two pieces, okay? And so that means length plus thickness plus seam allowance. So in this example, we have 34 as the length. So it's, and 3 is the thickness. So here we go. 34 plus 3 plus 1, which is 2 half-inch seam allowances, okay? And that equals 38, okay? Now this one, we have width, which is 10, okay? So width is 10 plus 10 plus 3, which is thickness, plus 3 plus thickness, plus the seam allowance. And that equals 26, 27, okay? Always double check your calculations. 37, 38, 26, 27, okay? And what that means is the piece I'm cutting is going to look a bit like this. It's going to be it's going to be one piece, 38 by 27. Okay, so hope that's super clear. Let's pop that here. Another look here. Length, width, thickness, seam allowance. And in this example I'm showing you here, I have a 34-inch cushion by 10-inch wide cushion. And by the way, when I put the batting or the Dacron on top, I don't add that because you want that to actually fill in the spaces, okay? So this is the actual cut of the latex in my example. One side is length plus thickness plus seam allowance. 34 plus 3 plus 1 equals 38. For the other side, which is actually this, width plus thickness plus seam allowance equals 27. In lots of ways, this is kind of the hardest bit. Once you get that piece right, then the next steps I'm going to show you are going to be super simple, really. So great, we'll move on to the next step and we will very carefully cut out this 38 by 27 inch piece. And of course this works the same in centimeters and millimeters. Okay, so we're finally getting to sewing the cushions, which is super exciting because in some ways it's kind of the easiest part of this whole endeavor. And I'm going to walk you through every single little step of that and show you how easy it is to make cushions for your RV or for your van. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so now we get to the sewing. So in some ways this is the easy bit. Honestly, once you've got your rectangle the right size, you've put your Dacron on your foam. Now we're just going to box corners and put in a zipper. Now I am not a seamstress. I can make stuff, and have been sewing since I was a kid, but I basically make curtains and cushions. But I found this, what I'm showing you here, and it's the best simple one-piece cushion that I've ever seen. So, okay, because this is a long ways cushion, we're going to fold that over, because that's the orientation we're going to have of this particular cushion. And we're going to line up these corners nice and tight, because we're going to make the boxes in those corners first. All right, now to make these first boxes, what you're going to do is you're going to cut a square in this corner. Okay, I've just doubled them over because it's simple. You're going to cut a square that is half the thickness by half the thickness. Okay, my thickness is 3 inches, so my square is 1.5 by 1.5. I know it looks small, but it's going to be exactly right. Now, because I've already cut one out, I'm using it as a template. Otherwise, you'd measure it, right? Otherwise, you'd be measuring that and then drawing it on. So I literally have a template already, which I'm going to cut out here. Okay, and you can throw those away. And you're going to do the same thing in the other folded corners, okay? So these are folded together, just for the sake of cutting at this point. I'm going to use the template on top, 1.5 by 1.5, or whatever half by half your thickness is. And then we're going to cut that across, and then cut that across. Okay, that's now done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew these corners. Yep. And so in order to do that, this is what we do. Okay, so we now have 4 of those corners boxed already. Now, of course, we're going to sew it inwards. So you put the pattern inside and you simply fold it over like this, okay? Like that. Now, I like to get this really straight on the piece that I'm sewing, and then we're going to sew along that edge here. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so you can see here, I've turned it in like this. Okay, so we've got the angle that's soft and then this open bit, and we're going to sew across this corner. I like to sew from here to here, and then you have your 1/2 inch, or in my example, 1/2 inch seam allowance. That is the seam that you have calculated for. Here goes. And then we have it. Okay, can you see that? Right, so we've created our first box. We're going to now do this for each of the other corners, okay? Do exactly the same thing. So we need to put the zipper in. In order to do that, I just buy lengths of zipper, okay, that you cut to size, and then you have the zippers that you pop in, okay. In order to pop it in, you open this a little bit, open it up, okay, and then you get not the square end, the other than the square end, and then we're just gonna, this is the front side of the zipper, the bit that's raised, okay, and we're gonna just slip that in as far as it can go on one side, slip that in as far as it can go on the other side. Oh, it's weighing it down, okay, And then usually all you need to do from here is just sort of turn this over and then zip it in, okay? That's all it took to get the zipper on. Very, very simple. Okay, so we have a zipper. What I like to do is I like to run stitches over each end. That's what I'm going to do next. Go forward and back a few times. That's what you saw me doing then. And then we should have sealed that zipper. And then we're going to do that to the other end. Okay, now we're going to put in the zipper. I know that might be scary to some of you, but it's really not that difficult. So, importantly, at least for me, you want the zipper to go over the edge. You don't just want it to go straight along the edge, or it's really hard to get your cushions in and out, and you will want to wash these at times, okay? One thing I didn't mention is I did wash and dry my new fabric on warm. I washed it on warm, I dried it on warm before I'm making anything, for the obvious reason that I don't want these to shrink after I've spent hours making them. Right? When you first clean them and you find your cushions don't fit anymore, okay? So I should have said that from the very, very beginning, but here we go. All right, so I've made it so that it goes around the edge. It's gonna make it much easier to get them in and out. I'm just checking my dimensions here for a second. I can actually go around the corner a bit more. So what I'm gonna do is you put your zipper inwards, obviously, because you're gonna be opening it from the other side. Let's actually do it from the side. Okay, the zipper or the raised part goes inwards. Now I'm starting it around the edge here like this, okay? And then again, I just want to double check the length of everything. That's going to go around that edge. Okay, great. I'm just going to shorten that a little bit. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm just tacking it to this side first, okay? And because it's open like this, it's super easy to zip it around the corner. It's really, really easy, okay? Can't tell you, don't be scared about this. It's just sewing stuff together at the end of the day. And zippers are awesome, of course. Okay. So I'm pinning all the way along. Just a light pinning. Okay, oh, and don't pin yourself. Okay, and then again it goes around the other edge over here. And then it will come right up to the end, okay? Okay, and now we sew the first side. Now one thing you need to do right now is change the foot on your sewing machine. It's called a zipper foot for obvious reasons. Okay, it looks like this. It makes it much easier to sew your zippers in. Just pop that on. They're usually very easy to put on and off these days. Okay, and then it's all pinned here, ready to go. So all I'm doing is I actually turn that more inwards, and then we're just going to start sewing the inside here. Okay, so I'm sewing to the outer edge. We're starting in here, and I'm lining up the edge of that with the center of my zipper. That's just my line. And it's going to make it pretty close to the 1/2 inch seam allowance piece. Okay. Okay, So we have one side on, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to do the next side. Now we need to do the other side of the zipper. Okay, in order to do that, we need to make sure we really pair up these box corners so they're nice and sort of square to each other. Yeah, and then that's going to couple in there like this. Yeah. Now you do that on the other side. Now what we need to make sure we're doing here, just get that really hard in there. There we go. Yep. And yep. Okay, and I know the zipper's on the inside, but then all we're going to do is we're going to flip the zipper outside now at this point, especially at this corner here. We're going to match that all the way up, and then we're going to put the zipper right there. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to pin it all the way around just like before. Can you see that? Now, needless to say, the zipper's on the inside, okay, because you're going to be doing it from the other side. Yeah? Okay, good. And then we're just going to pin this all the way around, and then we're going to sew it on. Okay. So it's all pinned, okay, and now we're going to sew it. Okay, would you believe we're at the last step of making your cushions here. So you've now just done these lengths here, okay, you've done the side seam. So before we did the corners that were 1.5 by 1.5, but this one we have to do a little bit differently because we've got a seam already. So this is the box I've already cut out. So it's actually 1.5, which includes the seam, and then we don't need it on this side. So it's 1.5 by 1. So it's the seam allowance less. So for these corners, it's 1.5 by 1 for mine, or for yours, it'll be 2.5 by 2 or 3.5 by 3. So if 1/2 inch was your seam allowance. So because I've got a little template here, I'm just using it to cut the corner. Otherwise you measure it and you mark it. Then you'll do same for the other side. Alright, we have done the final cut. Now, this is not difficult, but you need to watch, okay? In order to box these corners, we're going to pull the sort of the little mouth apart, okay, like this. And again, I encourage you to really square it off. It's going to come to a center there like that. And we're going to sew across here, and this will be the final box all the way across. All right, again I encourage you to open it right up, and then we're going to sew each of those corners across, and that is our last box corner. Alright, okay, and then we just open it up, obviously, turn it inside out, right, looking good. Sometimes you might want to reinforce across the, across here, yeah, let's do that, actually. Okay, and now it's all turned inside out, and we're going to put it in, put it on. Grab our cushion. See it here. Alright. then we just stuff one end in, stuff the other end in. There we have it. Isn't that fantastic? I think these are just wonderful. We have beautiful, perfect cushion. Wow. And that is my cushions finished. I am pretty freaking stoked, I have to be honest. I'm so happy with how they turned out. They're super comfy, cushy, cushiony, nice and thick. That's an extra piece that will probably go across the back door at night. But this is how it will sit when it's a bed, which is amazing. And then when it's not a bed, these will go up on the sides here too. And then over there, more or less. And then a beautiful feather tabletop will sit up in the middle. And hey, this is, I just pulled the table up, it's not attached yet, but this is how it will look when it's a dinette basically. But yeah, super happy. It's just wonderful. So pretty. Hope you've enjoyed this video.